Hello again, it's Glenn Walford here from Franchise Everything, where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And we are joined today by the franchisor and CEO of Stepz Fitness, Sam Waller. Sam.
Hey Glenn, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you for joining us here. You're interesting. We've done a couple of little bits today together, and I mentioned all of them. You've taken us on tours and done all stuff. We're in your beautiful location here at Rouse Hill in Sydney, which is your newest franchise. And we're going to talk about your journey, your personal journey, how you've got to where you are today, how you are the franchisor on Stepz Fitness, because you didn't start it. You didn't start the business and everything. You're a part of it early, but not starting it. So it was a really interesting story. That's why I wanted to get you on and have a chat about it, because I actually think it's quite inspirational where you are today. So where did it begin?
Sure.
Let's not start with a birth story or anything.
No, I won't go that far.
I hear some people saying, I was born in whatever. No,
thanks.
So where did it begin, mate?
Yeah, thanks for that. So it wasn't a career goal that I mapped out.
To be a fitness franchisor?
Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't a career path that I even saw was potential. And I'm sure a lot of young people see that as well. Like, how do you make a career in fitness? But hopefully by sharing my story, you can understand, the pathways that I took. And I understand this pathway is pretty unique.
Because it's not, fitness is a really hot career, isn't it? There's a lot of people who want to be involved, and it's very glamorous.
It's hard to make money though. It's hard to make money. As a personal trainer, in the early days,
which is where a lot of people start, don't they?
Which is where you sort of have to start in a way. But
so why do you have to start there? Do you think? Does it give credibility or what?
To open a gym, it's $500,000 all in. We're more affordable to open than other large gym franchises, but still a huge chunk of money. And to build up to that, you can start in something else, build up funds, and then come across to it. But I think business generally, there's no real pathway, and you'll hear about my pathway to business. And I didn't do the traditional way of university. So if I take you back, firstly, I started with a passion in fitness, and where that came from. Throughout school, I was always overweight. My natural tendency is I can gain weight pretty easily. So it's quite good that I'm in a gym most of the time. But in grade 10, when I was playing football, I had a rugby incident where I broke my back in 3 places. That led to me being sort of immobile for a long period of time, not being able to move well, and wearing a corset, something to hold a back brace for a long period of time. Couple of things there I learned. I put on a lot of weight. So that obviously led to having a hard time at school, with bullying and stuff. And then I realized with being immobile, how important movement and fitness is. So I changed myself personally. So I exercised a lot. At this time I was running outside to lose weight.
So when was this?
This was when I was still in school, just about to finish. I got right into fitness and through the ways that I know you like, and that's running outdoors. That's just.
I wish I could do it now.
Running around.
I ran too much outdoors. I can't do anything now.
Exactly, and that's why gyms are important, because you can only do that for so long, and then you need, you're not going to get strength from that as well. So, I lost that weight and my life completely changed. I found a newfound confidence. I found happiness, just a more resilience as well, which has led me so well through business. I think anyone that's lost a lot of weight and changed their life, in a big way, has a huge resilience, because it's not easy.
No. So what was the driver? Was there a specific driver, like a trigger for you to want to lose weight, or was it just overall 100%. Feeling?
I was overweight. I was obese in what should have been my happiest years of grade 11 and 12. Grade 10, 11 and 12, overweight. I felt like it was impacting me in more ways than one. And I felt like I needed to make that change, and I did. And the positivity, everything I got from that, in terms of how I thought about myself, my confidence just went through the roof. It was probably too high at that point. Probably needed to be taken down a notch.
You got a bit cocky, do you think?
But yeah. But then I was fit, healthy. This is what I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing, giving this to others, because it invigorated me. It changed my life for the better, and it still does. A workout every morning still gives me that.
So it's really created a mission for you.
Yeah, it's created that mission to help as many Australians as possible get happier and healthier through health and fitness. That's my mission, and everything that I've achieved at an early age can be attributed back to that. I believe back to that raw drive to help others experience what I did, because it was life-changing, and it's still life-changing today.
Wow. Okay. So, what was the journey from there? So you finished school. What was the step out of school? Because you're quite young now. I'm not going to ask what age you are. But
I'm 30 now.
Okay. Yeah. So, and
I can't use that anymore. I feel like I'm getting up there now.
Believe me, you'll get there. Don't worry. It'll only take time.
Yeah.
So you finished school. You're getting healthy. You're getting into this personal training. I gather. So is that what drove you into personal training? Or how did it work from there?
So I found personal training. I found Stepz. I still didn't have a clear idea of how to make a career in health and fitness, but I knew I wanted to.
Yep.
A lot of pressure to become, a lawyer, a banker. What my friends and family, wanted me to do.
Depends on what school you went to.
Exactly. I was blessed with a great education, and I do think I'm, crucially thankful for that. Because I've still got mates, my mates who are successful lawyers and in construction. That also drives me as well, because in business, it's up to me, what I do and how much I make. Especially when I was younger, seeing my mates climb the corporate ladder, and then me having to create my wealth and my income, it was motivating. So, I was blessed in that sense for sure. So I started a business management degree before I was working.
Was this straight out of school?
Straight out of school.
Yeah.
Just to sort of tick the boxes. Was listening into a lecture of a lecturer talk about business and how to be successful in business, and I sort of thought, don't know if this is the best place to be. Listen to someone who hasn't done business. I knew that business is very dynamic. You need to, if you're going to talk about business, I've got to
experience it.
You got to experience it, and that's just rung true every day. So. Dropped out of that after 2 weeks, and then
only 2 weeks is all you lasted.
That's all I did. After
was anyone disappointed?
Yeah, a lot of people were very disappointed. But it was the right decision, and I went back and completed a law degree, which we'll talk about. But it was a low point because I felt that took another hit to my confidence. But then I stumbled across a small gym in St. Lucia. Orange.
St. Lucia in Brisbane.
Yeah, orange logo. It was a Stepz Fitness.
We'll show the odd logo on this.
And I liked the fact that it was not intimidating. Everyone was welcome. My confidence was down after feeling like, oh, what am I going to do for my career? And then I just thought, this is it. This is me. I'm happy here. This is my safe space.
It's interesting because this morning when we've been walking around, you've been talking about design, aesthetic, environment, community, communal feel, communal table. It's sort of ringing true from you.
Sure.
About you, what you were personally looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And then, I fell in love with that place. I spent probably the next 5 years in those four walls, loving it. Helping other people as a personal trainer. Just the business was taking off, and all because I have that mission, and I'm that passionate about that mission, as everyone can probably hear.
Yeah.
And I just grew to end up taking that over when I was 21.
So you're a personal trainer in there.
Yeah.
You're working there. So when you say you took it over when you were 21, so you started in there were about 18, 19?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in what do you mean, taking over, managing it, or?
No, it's probably a bit premature, but everything I've done has been a bit early. So the franchisor at the time, it was the head office gym, and they were walking
it was a company gym?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were walking someone around to sell it. And I knew two things. Firstly, I'm going to have a new boss.
New boss, yeah.
Who's going to make his own decisions, and I'm going to, and I'm going to lose potentially an opportunity here. Unprepared, unexperienced at that time, apart from in personal training. I just thought, this is what I'm going to do. And I stopped after the interview with that potential buyer. I pulled the franchisor aside and said, I'm going to buy this gym in 2 weeks. And he sort of didn't believe me. But I set out on a path to speak to every bank, who all said no.
So why didn't the franchisor believe you?
It was it's a very large investment. It would have been it was close to $500,000 at that time.
Yep.
Where was I going to come up with the money as a 20-year-old? I had a bit of savings myself, but to get a large business loan, I knew it was a hard proposition. Well, I learned after the first bank kicked me out that it was going to be hard, because business lending is hard.
Yeah.
And you've really got to, put a strong case
You didn't
together.
have security for it.
Didn't have security. No one was going to give me the money, apart from I spoke to a member who knew my passion, who I had a
member of the gym.
Member of the gym, who agreed to go 50-50 with me. So I got enough money for half, and then they put in, a significant amount of money, which, I'm forever grateful for. That thing, what they've done for me and how they've set me up, I'm forever grateful for. And I appreciate them deeply. But in business and when to get started, I think you've got to come up with creative ideas. I still come up with random and creative ideas to make things work.
Just to make things happen. It's like
to make
thinking left field.
Exactly. It's a commitment, 100% commitment to doing it. And then it's working out unique ways of coming out with a solution.
So you're running. So you got that business, and what was it? What were the first few weeks or months like? Was it everything? Put it this way: was it everything you thought it was going to be? Like suddenly being a business owner, what was that like?
It was, yeah, it was. It was because I had a relationship with everyone already. The existing members, I knew what needed to happen, and it wasn't much. It was just cleanliness. It was energy. I hired a whole heap of young personal trainers who some of them are running their own gyms today. They're all very successful because we had a, competition, just a healthy competition of how many PTs you're doing, how you're going, how you're going to help members. It was just a great environment, and it was a high-paced environment, and it was hugely successful. So within about 2 years, it was a top franchise in the group.
And that was 24/7, just 24/7 gym.
Just a 24/7 model, but a lot of personal training in there. So that was the top performer at that time, and the gym was at capacity. So I was then working a couple of days a week. I went back and studied law, just because I'm thankful for it now.
I was about to say, what did you study law for at that stage?
Yeah, interestingly. So I'm thankful for it now. My father's a lawyer, very successful sort of partner in a law firm. Well, he's a consultant now, but he was a partner in a top law firm. And I guess, to make them happy, to be honest, at that time, I thought it was to make them happy because I still hadn't proven it enough. Fair enough too. They don't, this was still at the early stages of fitness businesses where, there wasn't as much, around.
So what we're talking 2013?
Around then. Yeah, exactly. 2013. So it was at the precipice of the huge growth phase.
Yeah. So were the thoughts, what they were thinking, is this thing got legs or something? Is that what you were
of course. Yeah. Like I could, I definitely, I had the marks to get into law, which I did. But it was to make them happy. But also in the back of my mind, I also thought franchising, if I'm going to get to franchisor early, if I have a law degree,
can't hurt for sure.
Yeah. And franchising is very legal, unfortunately. Like, depends on which way you look at it. But I see it as a relationship. I've come to learn that it's a relationship between two people, who want to do business together that's governed by one legal agreement in its most simple form.
Yeah.
So the legalities around franchising is very strong. So as a franchisor, I felt like I needed to know that.
And realistically, ever increasing.
Yeah.
Complexity ever increasing.
Yeah, and I think for most businesses, a lease is a huge document to sign. So it's a really good thing that I've got now, and I've been able to help franchisees a lot with it.
So you went in there with no intention necessarily to practice law at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was never going to practice. People
that know me know that it was never going to happen.
Yeah, no, I was never going to practice. I knew that, and I didn't need to. I was probably, if with one gym, I was probably making more than what I would first couple of years out. A lot more. Yeah. I was more passionate about business. For me, business, my grandfather's in business. He's the only one in the family that I sort of looked and got advice from and could talk to and could understand.
So you do that part-time in the evenings, or because you're only doing two days a week in the gym?
I wasn't doing much law, but I was working at that stage in my life. I was young, working 12 hours a day. I slept at a gym a couple of times before an exam so I could study and do both. So it was an action-packed time in my life. But looking back, it's
actually not that long ago.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't.
It's actually not that long ago.
Yeah,
it's amazing. The path is really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Not long ago, but I think things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
I didn't plan on being a franchisor at 22. You know.
So how did that happen? So you were doing the law degree. You've got St. Lucia.
The business is pumping.
Business is pumping. Yeah. Cranking along. You're in the top 5.
Yeah.
How does it?
Not working. What's the path?
Yeah. How does it go about you becoming franchisor?
My sisters are sort of doing a lot of their staffed hours.
In the gym?
Yeah, I had them employed and they were doing well. The business was running really well. And I was comfortable, put it that way, at a young age. But the passion to give what I got, in my early years through health and fitness, give that to as many people as possible. With one gym,
underlying mission still running through your
underlying
veins?
mission. Yep. With one gym, 600 people. With a master franchise, which I ended up doing, it's thousands. So then I got offered the master franchise in New South Wales.
So what does that look like for people who don't understand what the
master franchise is? Basically, you've got the whole state. I had the whole of New South Wales to build the business there. Bit different. I knew and I told the franchisor that I wasn't going to be bringing the business to New South Wales as it was. And they believed in what I was going to do. And that's when I added the functional group fitness to the model. And I wasn't going to open just another 24/7 gym because it felt like at that time, especially 2015, there was plenty around.
Yeah, and so there's lots of competition, so you wanted to add at some point of difference.
Had to have a point of difference before I opened it because I needed to believe in.
And the master franchise rights gave you the flexibility to do that because you could do that on basically you.
The franchisor believed in me, obviously, because they didn't have a fitness background. I had the fitness background. I had the ideas, and in life or in a franchise, if you're a franchisee, guys, if you want to get some changes or change things with the franchisor, show them how you can do it better than them, and then they'll start to listen. Anything, I guess, like in your career, if you want to change something or do something within a corporation, do it better than
show proof.
Show proof,
and
then go from there because that opens doors.
Yeah.
So
because people can't argue with facts.
No, can't argue with facts and activity.
Well, they actually can, but
well, they can if they do move on. But thankfully, once again, someone believed in me. They believed in me, and it's the best decision.
So, how long did you do New South Wales for, and what did that look like?
So New South Wales was from about 2015 to. Yeah, from about 2015.
Yep.
So I ended up finishing my law degree in 2015, graduated then. And then initially it was guerrilla sort of. I spent a lot of money on the master franchise agreements. They're not cheap in any franchise, I believe. So I spent basically a lot of money to get here. And then when I was here.
To get the rights. Yeah.
Then I was here, I was like, wow, now I need to open a gym and scale. How are you going to do that without an income? Because you're basically starting from scratch again to grow the area.
Yep.
There's no one's giving you money.
So you've got no brand recognition. You've got nothing. Yeah,
100%. So I did it. I did it by what I did with personal training and just getting out there, telling people what I was going to do, showing the difference in the model. And once a couple of franchisees or prospective franchisees saw the difference, and if they knew anything about the industry or gyms, they knew that it was different and it was something that had merit.
So you as a master franchisor, so your role then as a master franchisee, is to present to would-be franchise owners of a location that, hey, this is the opportunity. Let's open a business, and you're going to be their support. You're going to be their contact through to their intermediary between head office.
Correct.
And in return for that, you get one cut of it, and head office still gets another cut as well. So you've got a diminished revenue stream still though than you would ordinarily have.
But it's still strong.
Yeah.
Like it's still strong. you know, but and then there's a percentage that goes to head office. So yeah, it's diminished, but that wasn't the issue. The issue was getting the first one.
Yeah, and I suppose in those environments, like in any young franchise, they're buying you, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're buying you.
Which yes, and which I'm like, which in the early days exactly because there wasn't anything like what we were doing in the whole fitness industry. No one could see what a functional group training and 24/7 gym looks like because it wasn't done in 2017. We were the first to market with it, so. Yeah, they were buying me. A lot of people, you know, and that's happened a lot of times. And I, you know, if they see how passionate I am and how much I'm willing to work, even if people still buy me, I think it's the best decision they'll make.
Excellent. So how did that progress? How many did you open in just New South Wales before it all progressed to being the franchisor?
It was tough going for a while there to get the first one. Once the first one opened, in around 2016. So it was about a year, 6 months where I had no income, didn't have much. I was living off savings. And then it was a Thornley gym, which is probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from here where we are in Rouse Hill, was my first one in the hybrid model. So thankfully that kicked off well, went really well. It was still under the previous branding.
Was that stressful, that opening, like the fit out and all that sort of stuff?
Openings,
what was that like?
I can't, you know, for me,
it must have felt all new. Must have felt totally new.
Openings are always pretty stressful. Thankfully, I had the franchisor to walk me through it, which was great. Like, I think I needed that. But openings are always stressful. No matter these days, I still open a gym and you always have that fear. Like, imagine if no one came. But now with pre-opening marketing and stuff, we know at least 200 people will be signed up and paying by the first sort of direct debit date. So it's different now. But no matter what, even with that, you still have the fear that no one's going to turn up on the first day.
Of course. And how do you deal with that?
Now I know that, you know, it's just a thought pattern that I've got to get out of. But I can now sympathetic with franchisees when they feel like that. I can say, don't worry, I felt that before.
I know all about it.
It's going to be hard. The first couple of months are always hard because you know, my last gym that I opened personally broke even the first month or two, which was huge, and which is huge for any business to get up to.
Is that normal for the niche, for the industry?
Not normal for the industry, no, not at all. Not for the 24/7 industry, at least. The boutiques, some of them are doing it pretty well. But
I suppose that with big marketing campaigns, big budgets to throw to it, but then 6 months later with retention.
Yes, correct. So
it has a different impact.
We're able to do it within about 6 months over the last couple of gyms, which is still pretty impressive and huge for me because it's quite a bit of income that you're getting from nothing, off the back of nothing. So obviously our focus is to do that as fast as possible, get the income, pay the bills firstly, and then get the income coming in. So yeah, the first 6 months are always a bit tough.
So from Thornley, what was next after that as you developed this master location down here?
Obviously everyone in the group saw that went really well. I sort of got a name.
The hybrid model.
The hybrid model. Yep. So there was no one disagreeing that that's the way forward, including myself. That's when some things popped up in Queensland with franchisees being unhappy. And eventually it was about to become legal because there was a large group of franchisees that got together and said, there's not enough marketing going on, stuff like that. I got made aware of it. I think
so. It's almost a franchisee revolt, essentially. That type of
It wasn't going well. It wasn't going well in Queensland and with the previous franchisor. I got made aware of it. I think there was a lot of people in the group that sort of knew that, you know, I was the next step and the right person, but also the franchisor was like, Sam, this is you. I just finished my law degree.
This is you at 22.
Yeah, and obviously it was going a way that something needed to happen. Otherwise, it wasn't going to be good for anyone. Yep. I would lose out a lot of money too if it didn't go well.
If the system collapsed.
So I went back, had some meetings with franchisees, there was a large group of them in Queensland with the franchisees, franchisor. Initially, I was just acting it as the middle ground, who's still a franchisee, understands both sides of this situation and just trying to mediate it. And then ultimately I made the decision that to, take over on terms that would be agreeable by all parties. So I took over the whole franchise at, 2017. So at 2017, so at about, 22. I had a call from the head franchisee at the time, who was a top performer but very negative, and who was also, the group in Queensland was also trying to buy the franchise.
Okay, so there was a competing party for it.
Yeah, by myself, I was competing with them. I didn't know this at the time, but the first call I got after I successfully took over was, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work, and, you're not going to be able to do what you say you do. I know you got lofty goals, but it's not going to work. And I said, that was hard.
So I was going to say, how did that make you feel overall when you're just trying to do the right thing and you think you've got a great hybrid model pumping away? What was your reaction?
It rocked me, but welcome to franchising, I guess. Like, welcome to being a franchisor. You're responsible for a lot. People are going to hang things on you. Now, I moved on. It was a night of, shivers, what have I done? But pretty quickly I went back to what I've been doing, how well what I'm doing is, and how well what I've done has always worked, no matter what everyone else was going through. And I thought, I'll show you.
So that franchisee, is that franchisee still around?
No, I worked with him for a couple of years, and he still was performing. He was always hard, always, I think but I'm okay with that. Be hard, be hard on me. Fair enough. For me,
but there's still elements of just being downright unreasonable.
I didn't let him spread that. I didn't let him ever, get onto the other people in the group with negativity. I didn't let his negativity go, but I let him have his say, because it's fair enough. He's a franchisee. He's a part of this. And then it got to a point where he was open to selling, and I said, probably a good time to sell. He did really well out of the sale, and moved on happily, and we've, there was a relationship there.
Okay.
And so, sometimes, it's a group, and I just think in those early stages, so many people are affected by decisions that some people make. And if you're not making a decision that's beneficial to the group, don't make that decision, and don't spread your discontent, because a lot of lives and mouths are relying on, successful
getting
business.
It right.
Yeah. So in any franchise group, work together, find solutions.
Yeah. I mean, in a previous life, I was in roles with franchisors at a national operations level, and my take on it is people who behave like that, we're all human. So we all get drawn to people and work better with people who are actually decent towards us, and people who are antagonistic or difficult, or when you do a field visit and you just don't enjoy going and visiting that person, they're going to get less out of it. Whether you might not be doing it deliberately, but just by your nature.
They were the top performer, which was the also hard part. But
imagine maybe they wouldn't be. Imagine how good they could be going if they were actually.
Oh, sure. But he did get on board to a point. Like, he never was negative. He got on board to a point, and was supporting in certain things. But just remember, I've got to be open to criticism.
Of course. I'm not saying not being open to criticism, not at all.
Yeah, no, but I also, at that point more so, I couldn't have made these decisions where I start to clear out the decks too early.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, but now there's different conversations about that. Now, any negativity, if it's not for benefit of the group, that's not going to be heard. Franchisees are my greatest allies now.
Absolutely, of course. So feedback welcome, complaining. Constructive complaining.
Yeah, like if someone tries to bring discontent now, the next franchisee they speak to will just be like, that's not true.
That's a culture.
We've got a great culture now. Okay. And I've got people in my corner all over the place. So it's not something I'm worried about now, but at that time, it was very
I can imagine. So what was then off that? So that was a very early call you had. What was the first thing you did? What was your plan when you got in there?
Sure.
So you took over, basically a franchisee revolt about we're not happy with the scenario.
Yeah.
You end up taking the business. What's the first things you did?
I listened. I listened. I looked at what wasn't happening, and I didn't make any decisions quickly. It was a long time before we opened the next gym. That's when we undertook the branding. That's when we reviewed the model. That's when we changed the support structures. The first thing, because a lot of it was over not enough marketing.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing was implement a strong marketing campaign, calendar that everyone gets months in advance, a year in advance, for the next year, with 4 whole franchise campaigns. So where everyone's involved in a different promotion. So we do a January campaign, we're in a May campaign here. You'll see the collateral on the table. And then we do like a spring campaign and then a December campaign.
So you made it visually very, very early, very clear that
Well,
we're
I
taking
agreed
action.
with them on this point 100%. Marketing needed to be improved, and it's my role as a franchisor to have the structures and marketing in place to know. Otherwise, like they don't know, there's brand control, so they can't just run off and do their own thing. So that was the first thing, and that was a key thing that pretty much relaxed everything with the Queensland Franchise Group. And then it was about how do we make this better and get back to growing again. There was a consolidation phase where we, discussed who's in this. This is the vision. Who's in it? Got rid of, the people who weren't in it, sell their gym and help them with that. And then we did the branding to update it and bring it in line with what we're doing with the hybrid model. So you can't charge, a higher price without a better service offering. So did all that, got everything ready, and 2019 we started to get back on the growth path, and since then it's just been happy times with franchisees, which is great, and just growth. There was a 2-year period there where it was really challenging with COVID, but for me that was still happier than when things weren't happy with the people involved in the business.
So you talked about the hybrid model a few times. Talk us through this hybrid model. So why it's so important,
Sure.
do you think, going forward to the business?
So 2013 when I first had my gym to 2017 was the huge scale and growth in all 24/7 businesses. We were left behind in that, which I've talked about.
Because of all the problems, because of all the issues.
Because of this. So there was a learning experience, a lot I could learn.
And we've seen some of the 24/7s go to multiple hundreds of locations.
Some of them are now dropping off significantly though. Like I guess I planned what's happening now to a lot of the brands that haven't changed. If you look around, there's some that are going backwards, which was inevitable because the market was, scaling up so fast.
Yep.
So I changed the model to what I believe in long term. Combining.
So this is a business for the future.
This basically. I was, so at the start of my career, at that time by any means, 22 is when, you're still at the start of your career. So what's something that's going to be for the rest of my career and generations after me? That's what I wanted to create. And, that everything revolved around a long-term horizon. And that's what we did. And now it's about scale and building up, which we're doing at the moment.
So why is the hybrid model so important to that?
Sure, because there's no one else doing it at the time. It's the combination of a boutique studio and a 24/7 gym under one roof, instead of people paying for a studio membership and then also having a 24/7 gym membership a week. We're doing that for half the cost, $29.95 a week for everything. And then we've also got the 24/7 model. So it was important for me to be different and believe in what I'm doing when I'm selling.
So it's giving you more affordability for members, more affordability for members, and make it easier to attract members and retain members, but also to give members quite very distinct options, isn't it? Because so for those, we spoke about this before. I was a member of a gym, but I didn't go for 18 months, so which is bad. Bad for the bank account too, but
not necessarily for us.
No, I couldn't believe it. I went, they said, oh yeah, you could have cancelled ages ago. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I thought I had an 18-month contract.
Yeah.
But so I know, as I do, I'm more curious about the fitness franchise fitness industry because I don't have a lot to do with it or a lot to do with other niches in the sector. So the activity with the hybrid model and the way it works compared to, say, functional fitness and 24/7 gyms is very interesting to me about and the way that you attract and retain customers.
Sure. Yep.
So how does it work on a daily basis with the operations within the business for franchisees?
Sure. So there's about three to four group classes a day.
Yeah.
So there's probably an extra casual staff member to run some of those classes. Apart from that, it might be the manager. So very little's changed in terms of staffing, which
From how you've previously run it.
from how we've previously run it, which is so important because I still believe the 24/7 model, no matter what, will always be there because it's such a strong model in terms of low staffing cost, low touch, self-service, almost convenience, affordable. Like, your gym membership, if it was double the price or triple the price, you would have seen it coming out of the bank account and be like,
I would have taken it.
no matter what, no matter what, I'm going to have to cancel
I'm
this
going to
thing.
have to do something about this.
But for $14.95, I want everyone to use the gym, and you know that. Like, my passion for health and fitness is huge. But $14.95, even if people feel like, I've got a tag, I can show my friends that I'm going to the gym, or feel confident that they've got a gym membership, that they can use it when they can't
When
sleep
they're
at
ready.
night.
Yeah.
When they're ready, or they can't sleep at night. So instead of walking out on the streets, they can go and use the gym. For shift workers, it's impossibly hard to be a shift worker with the hours and have a good routine. So even if they can do it on the odd occasion, it's that affordable that's okay, and I'm open to that, as long as everyone has access to health and fitness. That's my crucial thing about it all. So basically, a lot of research went into, a lot of discovery went into working out exactly what members want and then bringing that to the market and doing things quite differently. Like, no one, I don't think other franchisors with an established base. So we had 13 or so gyms established. We could have kept going like that. To change the model at that point, it would
to retrofit all of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big decision, but it was the right decision. It's paying dividends now.
So going into the future, what do you see your role into the future? So what does it look like for you going forward, for you personally, as much as anything? This is about you as much as anything. So what are you going to do going forward into the business and
more? So I've enjoyed, obviously my mission has driven a lot of this to, help as many Australians become happier and healthier. I want to just, every step, I don't decide to be a franchisor. I don't decide to take over. It's just all the steps that I've taken in life is revolved around that. So I'm going to continue on that, because the more people I help, say this new gym we're in right now, seeing,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, seeing each member. I like looking at members' names. I like greeting people, as you probably saw.
Oh, every person who's walking in today, even while we've been off doing our stuff and we were nowhere near you, I can hear you just saying hello to people.
I like saying, oh, I'm giving them access to health and fitness. Obviously, thank you for supporting our businesses. That's a 101 for all business owners, is greet everyone that walks in the door, and it's a non-negotiable for my staff. If they don't greet someone, that's a warning, 3 warnings, and they're out. It's just business 101 for me. So going forward, I'm happy to be scaling and to be growing. Like, we've got 7 gyms opening in the next couple of months. This is where I've always dreamed Stepz to be and Stepz to be at. So in a sense, I've got content that everything's working and I'm happy and this is where I want it to go. But the job's not finished. Like, the job will never be finished until I'm over, because it's a mission. It's a lifelong mission to help people get those same sort of benefits I had in some of my darkest days when I was young.
So with that in mind, how many Stepz roughly do you see Australia-wide? How many do you think there can be?
Sure. I don't ever want to be a behemoth, where we've talked about this before. I always want to be contactable, and I don't think we need to be a behemoth. It's not about growing for the sake of growing for me. If there's a site that's too expensive, the lease isn't right, or something's not right with the site, I won't take it. Unlike, some other franchisors who will just grow for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Everything still needs to be right, and I don't want to get to a point where franchisees are getting their territories cut down or anything like that. So I see it as sort of 10 to 20 high performing gyms in each state. As long as the gyms are performing, I'm happy. So it looks like sort of 100 gyms in Australia, and then on to, overseas and stuff. But I've found, you have to have a state-specific strategy, or you have to have the resources in the state to be able to move there. That's probably a big thing that I've found. I don't want to just have a scattergun approach to new sites. So at the moment, we're very focused on regional New South Wales. So we've got Lake Macquarie coming up, Salamander Bay, Baddo Bay, a lot of gyms in the regions coming up, continuing with that, and then New South Wales, and then we'll move on to Victoria. We've got a master franchisee in ACT. So like me, he started with his first gym. That was hugely successful. Our top performer at the time, still is today. I'm second. So there's a bit of healthy competition there. Yeah, exactly. So I'm happy. Yeah. You know what, Glenn? That was the best moment of my life. Someone doing exactly what I thought this model could do, but also surpassing that. Like his revenue, his net profit, I thought was unimaginable. But then he's been able to buy another one as well pretty quickly after that. His gym was profitable in the first month. So he's had a crazy story. He's worked hard for it, Daniel. So he's took Shell Harbour, and now he's bought the ACT Master
that's
franchise.
one you told me. So one, yeah, that's interesting.
He won't like me saying this, but he's following my path, and which I'm, that brings me the greatest joy, seeing a franchisee do well, change their life. Similar to my story again. I want to see as many people do that as possible, because it's, a good journey.
Are there any? Before you close out, are there any little, it's on my mind, so I should ask it, are there any little sneaky other revenue streams that you've got thinking about or looking at a way to bring into the business?
No,
you're just going to keep on this core?
Great point. Yeah, I did want to say that. Great point. No, we're not interested in anything else apart from what we're doing and what works, because, stuff like all the other bits and bobs.
I see them, people adding on all
we're
different
not
bits.
We're not going to do that. No, okay. We're going to focus on our core thing. Because we've got enough. We've got functional group fitness. We've got 24/7 gym. We're going to focus on just that and do it well. Do it better than anyone else. Keep going until both of those. Our functional group fitness is better than going to a boutique studio separately, and a 24/7 gym. I guess we've already done that with, that's already there. The 24/7 gym I'm happy with.
Yeah.
If you look around our equipment, our service offering, and our price point, that's already there and has been for a while. The functional group fitness, I want to make sure that stays at the top of that class, and then that's all we're going to go through forward. That being said, it's clear that I'm not opposed to changing things. I'm not opposed to being dynamic. And the fitness industry, unlike other franchises, in a lot of other industries, but you've touched on it before, the fitness industry is very competitive and very dynamic. So I want to stay ahead of that curve.
You'll always keeping your eye out.
Yeah, I want to stay ahead of that curve. I don't want to jump into little silly things, because I've made those mistakes personally. I just want to focus on what we're doing, because I think it's enough. Members think it's enough. Do it better than anyone else, and then grow on that. But that being said, I've done it in the past. I'm not opposed to making large changes if they're needed at any point.
Excellent. Well, Sam, I think we've pretty much covered. We've covered a lot of your story. Do you think? Is there anything anything you left out?
No, I think that's everything. I'm looking forward to helping others do this now. Like, if you're interested, please reach out to me.
Yeah, we'll put the details. We'll put the details and links in there for sure.
Yeah, that's where my passion is now, because I can't change, the health and fitness for Australians by myself. I need people to do it with me, and I'm happy to share how we're going, how you can perform, and the huge success that's ahead of you if you make that decision, and also be there for you passionately, and work with you to drive a successful, great business, because that's where my passion lies now, is in the business side of things.
Excellent. Well, Sam Waller, thanks. Stepz Fitness, thanks so much for joining us again on this Franchise Everything podcast.
No, it's great. Been great.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having us out here today.
I really appreciate it. Thanks,
mate. All right. And we'll be catching you again soon.